Reactions. This is the internet is worse than ever. Now what? Bajao Kurzgesagt nutshell. They came after Kurzgesagt. Is this the revenge video? I don't know. I have no idea what this video is going to be about. I guess it's like internet in general. Is it though? Is it worse than ever? Like something I realized. Like I'll think about this a lot, right? With thought experiment and everything like that. Even with the YouTube experiment, sometimes I do it to see like how algorithm works and things like that. About the internet, is it like worse or are we just exposed to it more? Right? It's like when you see of all the things happening in the world, the stats of it by a proper organization, multiple of them. That's how science work. So then you realize like everything is better than it was before. Even the fear mongering is less now than before, which like when you hear what you're talking about, yeah, it is. But yet we feel that it's not. Like I think it's because we're connected more. Social media connects us more and just like amplifies things. Like you're gonna wake up, start your phone like Instagram, YouTube, whatever, and you're just gonna have something that just like triggers you constantly, which is like not healthy. Don't do that shit. I don't do that. I've known that for a long time before even this social media blew up a lot. I always like, no, you should never look at something that triggers you that much, right? That's just going to create like a wear and tear, mental wear and tear, and might cloud your judgment, right? Which is basically what this is, right? Now, you might think like, it's really high, like fake news and things are high. Yeah, there is that. But is it worse? Like, I don't know, man. So we'll see how Kurzgesagt goes deep into this one. It's 11-minute video, but generally Kurzgesagt do it in that range. So it's going to be interesting. Let's watch it. Remember, people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. That way you can help this channel by helping the algorithm. More people can see it. It can help impressions or something. And yeah, that way I know which type of videos to react to more. I love science, anything scientific related. So comment down if you want to do any specific video. For past week or so, I've been doing a lot of like military style videos, tanks and equipment, engineering based. So if you haven't seen them, check out the link in the description or end card, and let's watch it.
In 2022, nearly half of Americans expected a civil war in the next few years. 1 in 5 now believes political violence is justified. And it's not just the US, but around the world. People increasingly see themselves as part of opposing teams. There are many different reasons for this, but one gets blamed a lot: social media. Social media divides us, makes us more extreme and less empathetic. It riles us up or sucks us into doom scrolling, making us stressed and depressed. It feels like we need to touch grass and escape to the real world. New research shows that we might have largely misinterpreted why this is the case. It turns out that the social media internet may uniquely undermine the way our brains work, but not in the way you think. The myth of the filter bubble. You've probably heard about online filter bubbles. Algorithms give you exactly what you want or what they think you want. You only see information that shows you opinions that agree with yours, while dissenting opinions or information are filtered out. Since you only see content close to your worldview, more extreme and toxic opinions suddenly seem less extreme. You're trapped.
Yeah, see, there is two elements to it. First of all, it doesn't just show you, like, at least YouTube. I don't know about other social media, but then again, what is the content in other social media? It's like basically photos and posts, like, look at what I did, look at where I'm traveling. I don't know why YouTube is social media. What is social media? It's like a broader term. YouTube is more like a video forum. I don't know how to say it, but other ones are just like, could be anything, right? Photos, just simple talking, arguing. It can turn from like discussion forum to videos and photos like Facebook, whatever. But as far as YouTube goes, YouTube sees like and dislike both as an engagement. It doesn't matter what you like or dislike. It will show you both. If you dislike something more, YouTube will show you that as well. Just to like, okay, this is what you dislike or disagree with. Here's more of it for better understanding. It recognizes both of the things. It's not just like whatever you like, it will just show you that. That's not the case. At the same time, I have done, I had 2 inactive accounts of the past, YouTube account. So I've done a experiment of sort. There's like whole community of Steven Seagal haters and lovers. I saw a video, I think it's a channel called Space Ice who makes a parody of it, right? And there are other channels like that. So one channel I did this experiment where I watched Space Ice video similar to that, and how people saying like it's an idiot, Aikido, stupid, this and that. And then another channel, I saw videos who's like pro Steven Seagal, like how good he was, like how action star he was, this and that. And one thing I realized that whenever I saw the positive version of it, Space Ice was never recommended to me. Maybe this was just me. Maybe it's like one event, right? Probably someone else would get the recommendation. But to me, in that experiment, whoever liked Steven Seagal got the liking Steven Seagal videos rather than disliking one, and whoever dislikes Steven Seagal got that kind of video. So bubble is a real thing. Same thing with the Fox News viewers compared to CNN News. There are people who like Trump a lot, and you will see like hardcore Trump lovers, and the comments will be littered by that. No one's disliking Trump at all. The other channel were like, oh, Trump is an idiot, Trump is that. They will be only nothing positive about Trump. It's like you think the comment section would be somewhat mixed or something. No. So bubble is a real thing. It's not like, but it depends, like how it's kind of rarity, and it depends on the people. Most people can basically filter through that, realize what is a bubble, and move on from there. Very minority of people would be just stuck in that.
Trapped in a radicalizing filter bubble, and your view of the world becomes narrower and more extreme. But is that true? Extreme filter bubbles seem to be rather rare.
Yeah.
Studies that investigated what people actually look at online or are shown by search engines found little evidence that you're ideologically isolated. It's the exact opposite. Online, you are constantly confronted with opinions and worldviews that are not your own. It turns out that the place where you are the most ideologically isolated is your real life, in the real world, with real people. Your real-world interactions with your friends, family, colleagues and neighbors are much less diverse than your online bubble. The filter bubble exists in your real life.
I don't want to pause too much, but the whole disagreeing thing doesn't exist in real life, because you don't like to see people's faces when you say something even that can be interpreted as bad, because it's like something, I don't want to say something bad. I don't want to make somebody feel bad. Generally, people are like that. And even disagreement can lead to, let's just say, punch to the face. People are not going to risk that. So in real life, disagreements are very rare. Right? People, even if they disagree, I guess, sure, and just walk away, just stop the conversation. So if anything, discussions are only happening in online forum. And that is good in a way, right? I guess like there's an issue, but this is actually something good. People are not blind. Before internet, a lot of people were blind to a lot of things.
Life, not online. Okay, wait. Online filter bubbles have been the prevailing explanation as to why we've all started hating each other more over the last 2 decades. If that's not the case, shouldn't the internet open our minds and make us more empathetic with each other? Unfortunately, your brain is stupid. Your brain is stupid. Human brains didn't evolve to understand the true nature of reality, but to navigate and maintain social structures.
Man, don't just walk out. You better make a fucking video about your brain is stupid, and that's it. Just make a whole video about it, because I know there is a way to. I've seen about this a lot. The whole scientific foundation of ignoring human evidence is based on this. Our brains, whole optical illusion, this and that, everything makes just like, oh, your brain is stupid. So I hope Kurzgesagt makes a whole video based on that, like how this is the case, how biases work, how we get stuck in something, and how outside of the box thinking just feels weird, right? Some people like, for years I was thinking this, and suddenly somebody told me this, and I really thought about it, and yeah, it makes sense. I can't believe I was blind to it. Same thing with the cults. This is basically what it is. Our brain is stupid.
Our ancestors desperately needed each other to survive, so our brains had to make sure we cooperated. That's why social isolation or exclusion feels so horrible, because it was actually life-threatening. A tribe that worked together survived. A divided tribe died. The way communities worked for thousands of years is that, sure, you may have disliked a neighbor, but because you lived close to each other, you also rooted for the same sports club or saw them at church. You both thought that
there's even a saying in where I live in India, basically, that your biggest relative is your neighbor, because your relative is not living close to you. Your neighbor is literally next door to you. Might as well be living in your house, that kind of thing.
People from the other village were idiots. Being physically close made you familiar and created similarities that bridged the gap of different worldviews, so you didn't murder each other. And your worldview was probably not that different in the first place, because it was formed by the same local culture.
Yeah.
When our brains evolved, this was enough. Whoever was around was similar to us. We liked what was similar to us. This kept us aligned enough to work together despite
Look at the
our
sports.
differences. As humanity moved on from small tribes to towns and cities, from chiefdoms to kingdoms to nations, our brains and our communities had to adapt to more diverse sets of neighbors. We began to meet on the town square or in universities where we argued and screamed at each other. But in the grand scheme of things, communities were still relatively isolated, we were still pretty similar and aligned with the people around us. Conflict and disagreement are not a bad thing per se. Tension over how we should live can create new and wonderful things. Our values, norms, and taboos are always evolving, and whatever we think is normal today will not be normal in the future. But we also need social glue to hold our societies together because our brains don't care about the meta level of humanity, but about being safe in a tribe. Until about 20 years ago, we did something truly new that hit our brains like a freight train: the social media internet, the digital town square. Don't you dare disagree with me.
Yeah, I think social media is this new incarnation of like just mail, right? The early versions of World Wide Web that DARPA created, mostly scientific people and just intellectuals use that compared to the most other people, right? Just to compare notes, like somebody from other part of the world can communicate with somebody just like a completely different time zone, and just like science can be done like that, right? Science was given that kind of importance back in the day. I don't know what is happening now, but yeah, that was the case with like science is to be first type of thing in that way at least. And then it just like grew into like everybody can use it, and there you go. Just Zuckerberg just like light blue, like fuck it, we're gonna create this kind of like a system. Zuckerberg's not first. There was like a lot of social media in here. There was something like Orkut, and I remember still like 2006, 2005, things like that. But it was like Facebook was the first of its kind. It just connected things at this larger scale.
Social sorting. In a nutshell, our brains are not able to process the amount of disagreement we encounter on the social internet. The very mechanisms that made it possible for our ancestors to work together in the first place are derailed in ways we were not prepared for. Whether you want it to or not, your brain sorts people by worldviews and opinions into teams. This is not simply tribalism, it goes further. Researchers have called this process social sorting. On the digital town square, you encounter people that express opinions or share information that clash with your worldview. But unlike your neighbor, they don't root for your local sports club. You're missing the local social glue your brain needs to align with them. For your brain, the disagreement between yourself and them becomes a central part of their identity. And this makes it less likely that you will seriously consider their position or opinion in the future. If you hear bad things about them, your brain is much more likely to believe it uncritically. On the flip side, there are people who share your worldview and are maybe even more similar to you than many people in your real life, which makes your brain like them a lot and kind of hyper-align with them. People who think like you are probably good people because you're a good person and whatever social group you belong to is good.
Yeah, the bias. So I think internet bias is one of the most dangerous thing in a way, because our mind makes presumptions a lot, right? Prejudice is a real thing, whether you like it or not. Now, that thing can be influenced based on what you think about certain things. So if you hear about somebody that, okay, here's a guy, right? You might be somebody who's like really left, right? But at the same time, you like don't like Ben Shapiro or whatever he stands for. Somebody could be like, let's just say completely like you, but he likes something about Ben Shapiro and he's a fan of that. You don't know anything about this guy at that point, but you just realize that he's a fan of Ben Shapiro. You instantly make assumptions of what the person is all about. You just know that now without actually knowing the person. You're never going to know the person because you're never going to meet the person, right? So this is the guy. He's this in this category, in this box. These boxes are checked. There you go. He's an asshole. But if you meet in real life, you realize, oh, wait a minute, he's completely like me. And, we are so like that we might be friends forever. But that would never happen because you're in social media, right? You just saw from the distance, you realize that he likes something and you just like fill in the blanks from there. That's a real big thing. It happens to celebrities all the time. People make assumptions about celebrities. Then something comes out and says, oh, what an asshole. And just like they just shun them. It's like whatever that celebrity was famous for doesn't even matter anymore.
So your brain is more likely to believe their opinions. If you hear bad things about them, your brain is much more likely to dismiss it uncritically. The engagement-driven social internet makes it worse because it wants to keep you online as long as possible. And the most engaging emotion is, unfortunately, anger. The more angry you get, the more likely you are to share and engage. And this leads to social media amplifying the most extreme and
I think shock is much stronger than the anger when it comes to social media. And if you want to see most clickbaits will be based on shock, like, oh my god type of thing. It could be anything. I'm not talking about just like bad element, anything shock. Like, did this element or this, that kind of shock type of surprise shock elements. And then the anger comes.
Controversial opinions. It optimizes not only to show us disagreement, but the worst disagreement possible. And because your stupid brain is sorting people into teams, whatever the worst opinions
the cancel
are,
culture
it
is
assigns
ridiculous.
the same opinions to everybody on the other team. What's striking and new about online polarization is that all the aspects of our lives that make us individuals, our lifestyle choices, the comedians or shows we watch, our religion, sense of fashion and so on, are condensed, making it seem that they're parts of opposing and mutually exclusive identities. This simplifies and distorts disagreements about how we should run society so much that it often seems as if the people on the other team are actively, willfully making the world worse. That they're almost evil, beyond convincing with rationality, facts or civil discussion. While you are, of course, on
The best real-life example of this is, I think, road rage. I think Fort 9, Ryan F9, basically is a great channel about vehicle related, and he made a video about that, like how road rages work. You don't think about the person, you think about the vehicle, and your road rage comes from that. If that scenario was different and it was like person to person, you wouldn't, basically act like that. Because you can see the person, your brain works like that. Your brain works in the background a lot, whether you realize it or not. There's a whole structure to it, but you don't realize that. Now, when it comes to vehicle, like, okay, that stupid Honda Civic just cut me off. You're going to be angry about it. You want to punch that Civic's, mirror or whatever. Like a ram that Honda Civic or whatever. Your mind will say that. You won't realize that there's a person in that. Like, you're not stupid, but you're not going to be thinking that. So social media is kind of like similar that way. If you're like face to face, it would be different. But since it's social media, it's just, road rage is the best example for this.
the correct team, it may be hard to process that you may seem like that to people on the other team. On a societal level, this is dissolving the social glue that's the foundation of our democracies. If we think our neighbors are evil, how can we live together? This is especially bad in the US, where the two-party system makes it extra easy to think of people in terms of teams. Negative opinion about the other party has reached record highs. Okay, is there something we can learn from this? Is there something we can do? Something more positive. Opinion part. In the end, it's important
Keep
to be
politics
aware
off.
of what social media does to your brain. It's easier to change yourself than to change the world, so you can self-examine why you believe the things you believe and whether you dismiss or believe information based on who the person is who is stating that information.
I think, the 10-minute rule should apply. There's a scientific rule, like if argument goes more than 10 minutes, both are wrong. I mean, don't say both are wrong, but like both should stop type of thing. Argument goes like a bit, a certain point and then more, like just stop. There's no need to have argument. Try to keep politics off. And yeah, that's basically from there, like focus on entertainment more. There's a reason why TikTok might be many things, but it's somewhat positive because it's like stupid trends and just songs and whatever that is. It's not about opinions and politics more. So I guess at least like things are shifting. Like, oh, look at that. There's like a new thing, some kind of a shit here and there. Look at that dance. That's it. Entertainment things.
The internet comes with a lot of ups and downs, and just like we had to adapt from living in small tribes to living in cities, we need to adapt to the information age where we have access to billions of people. Evolution is too slow, so we need to find models that work with what our brains are able to tolerate. One model that seemed to work well was the pre-social media internet old people might remember. Bulletin boards, forums, blogs.
Yeah.
The main difference to today was twofold. For one, there were no algorithms fighting to keep you online at any cost. At some point, you were done with the internet for the day, as mind-blowing as this may sound.
By the way, yes, shutting off the PC was a big thing. You click on the button, you shut it off. It will take time to shut off. You shut off the power. That's a big event. Starting the computer was a big event. Nowadays, like put it to sleep. It's just like, even say it like shut off or something like voice command and crap. Even shutting off the PCs like with SSD, just click it, it's off. It doesn't even take time. Click the button, it's on again. Your smartphone, you don't even need fucking computer. So back then, computer was a thing that they were doing. What am I doing? I'm doing computer.
But more importantly, the old internet was very fractured, split into thousands of different communities, like small villages gathering around shared beliefs and interests. These villages were separated from each other by digital rivers or mountains. These communities worked because they mirrored real life much more than social media. Each village had its own culture and set of rules. Maybe one community was into rough humor and soft moderation, another had strict rules and banned easily. If you didn't play by the village rules, you'd be banned. Or you could just go and move.
Yeah, Yahoo Chat, YouTube, 4chan. Yeah, there were like, different communities doing different things, I guess.
To another village that suited you better. So instead of all of us gathering in one place, overwhelming our brains at a town square that in the end just leads us to going insane, one solution to achieve less social sorting may be extremely simple. Go back to smaller online communities. Because what our stupid brains don't realize is that we are actually all on the same team. Humanity, on a wet rock speeding through space in a universe that doesn't think about us. We are all in this together. But until our brains adjust to being able to deal with that, we might be better off being a tiny bit separated. One of the worst things about the media we consume is that most
Well, go to original video paging from there. Suppose this channel ground.news forces nutshell, and suppose this channel from there. I'm not so sure about that one. Like, go back to small communities. I don't think that's the answer. Why? Because back then we were like that because we didn't have any options. As soon as we could connect to the world, we did. So you can't go against human nature like that. You can't go against the progress, right? And it's not like we were not connected to the world. There was like always global news. There was TV. But now it's just like more easier, more accessible. There's more details to it. That's what the modern internet is. Our mind gets overwhelmed a lot, and that's the problem. The best thing you can do is, like I said, like train your brain how to consume what. Information always going to be there, but how you're going to deal with it is up to you. Try to keep politics away, like I said, as much as you can. It's not going to be work. Politics is life. You can't just run from politics, but try to keep it away as much as you can. Try to understand like what it is to be connected to the world, what is internet, and when to use it, not to be on that 24/7, basically. And just basically simple things like that. Try to make sure this entertainment is entertainment. Compartmentalize. People don't compartmentalize nowadays. Like, what is my life? First of all, me and my family time, that's one thing. My job, that's one thing, right? Social media, anything social media related, that's another thing. Anything politics is also another section of its own. Compartmentalize is very important in that you understand that what portion is what. And once you shut that off portion, that shouldn't leak to other portions. People don't do that. People let their social media politics leak into their family and everything. That's just them 24/7. Even they go to sleep, they're somewhat angry because, I don't know, they saw something on the internet that pissed them off or doesn't agree with it or something. You're not going to change shit. You're not going to matter at that level, right? Something is happening somewhere. What you going to do about it, right? Like I don't even know specific. Like, let's just say that there are people see something on the internet, like something trend is going on, but some people are doing something and you're just like, you don't like it, right? You don't agree with it politically. You're just going to be pissed. What you going to do about it? What is your brain hurting going to change anything? Can you change the world like that? What it is mean to change it? Like, people can have opinion. Your opinion is different. Just stay away, like compartmentalize. That's the only thing that you can do. Going back to smaller communities is not going to work. It's like regression. That never works. Well, that was the internet worse than ever. Now what? By channel Kurzgesagt. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you next time.